transparency to our city. No more backroom deals in the city of Salinas. Everything will be on the table for the public to see and the businesses to see, and how we should be moving forward. Put together a 6-part series on YouTube that we rolled out on our Facebook. You can go to electpipe.com. There you'll see specific plans and a specific six series plan of what I feel is the best way to move forward for our city to close the infrastructure gap that our city so recklessly put ourselves in, financial accountability to rein in the wasteful and neglectful spending, and bring a true fiduciary responsibility to the leadership for our residents of the city of Salinas, and look forward to representing the entire city, the whole city of Salinas, not just Old Town, not just the south side, not the east side, the north side, the south side. Every side is together on this, and I plan on bringing transparency and a full community involvement into the future and planning of our city.
For the rest of the questions, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was going to look at me instead of the camera.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So you got into a little bit of it there in terms of, done a lot of everything, but now why run for mayor? What makes you stand out from the other candidates?
My vast background in many different industries, as I permeated through our wage gap that we've suffered, my generation specifically over the last 30 years, looking for the opportunity, the American dream opportunity, and it's just been a difficult path, and I finally made it to that point. But here over the last couple of months, I suffered an accident where I broke my femur, and my life flashed before my eyes, and as an entrepreneur, we're always don't have quite the time to put in for the public service, and that instance in my life, my wife and I had a long discussion. We decided it was time. We spend a lot of time with the homeless community, feeding the homeless, providing supplies, women's hygiene, diapers, wipes for the Alisal shelter, and we feel that the city needed a true leader that was going to address this problem of homelessness, along with the other 5 points I've made as far as job creation, housing and redevelopment, infrastructure, financial. Well, I think that our leadership in the past has had a lot of a lot of issues that they've had to face due to economic downturns, due to poor decision making over the last 30 years. It's compounded over and over. And the way our system's set up, this is basically a volunteer position. We have our careers, we've got to work in our careers, and then we've got to jump in and understand the issues that our city faces. And I quite frankly don't believe that our council and our late Mayor Joe Gunter is a wonderful man. He actually had the time, and I think Joe did a really good job in a lot of ways. But most of the people that have been a part of our leadership just haven't been informed enough, and I think that possibly they've trusted others to help guide them in their decision making that's been poor decisions.
There is going to be a vastly different looking leadership into this upcoming year. No matter who wins, there will be a new mayor. There's going to be at least 2 different council members that will be elected. It's coming in from the outside in. What he's able to say, hey, I've got this day one, I'm going to hit the ground running.
I think I have the intellectual capacity just as greater than anybody that's going to be there. As far as running a meeting and determining when it starts and when it ends and passing motions, that's a very textbook situation. I've got a list prepared by the clerk of the city on how to functionally run the city. It's a matter of having the ability to bring all of the people together, all of the businesses around the surrounding area, which I've been in contact with for the last 80 years. Of course, I'm not 80 years old, but our family business here has been in business with our farming community for the last 80 years, and I know how to get them in the room together to help solve these problems. I know how to get these organizations in the room to solve these problems. And I'm in touch with all the key players outside of the deep state of Salinas. We don't need somebody that's tied into the deep states that's continued to run our city financially into the ground. We don't need somebody that's endorsed by all the managers that continually just held their thumb over Salinas, making hundreds of thousands a year with their wardrobe allowances and whatnot. We need to have a leader that's willing to crack down on our city management. It's been holding our workers down and our ability to progress as a city, as a modern city. And I can bring that to you.
One thing that we see from all different candidates talking about affordability, housing, very expensive, not necessarily enough of it. What do you think that the city needs to do? There are plans to build in certain areas. Do you think it's got to build more housing? Is it making sure that people locally are buying housing? How do we help the people that if they're either priced out or just losing them out to people built in other places?
I think the key to our housing situation here is all housing. I don't think that we need to be focused on low income necessarily. I think we need to be focused on low income, medium income, and high end housing. Any housing equals more affordable, and I believe that we need to look at creating efficient living environments and look around this town and we look at the dilapidated infrastructure. Our kids are doing homework at Taco Bell because there's no internet connectivity for them. We need to redevelop neighborhoods. People are parking on lawns, sidewalks, cramming 2-3 families in 1,200 square foot living spaces, not because that's how they want to live, but that's all we're providing. And it's going to be very critical for each one of our council members. It's in my 6-part series on YouTube that each council member take up a committee for infrastructure within their district. We need to identify these blighted and rundown neighborhoods so we can collectively come together with a new way of thinking, a new type of partnership with the landowner, with the developer, and the city to partner and redevelop these areas that we do not have the infrastructure budget for because our reckless abandonment of our city to the infrastructure needs of our city. This is what will close that gap, plus provide an incredible living status for our people. And it'll be a lower cost basis to the resident, a profitability center for the developer, and a long-term organic growth tax base for our city. It's a win-win for everybody involved.
Sort of where I wanted to go with this next part in terms of growing a tax base, more revenue. We had the city already having to pass, to start that Salinas plan with the $60 million projected deficit over 10 years. Then COVID happened. What do you see that's not necessarily part of this plan that desperately needs to happen, or where the city's going wrong?
Well, I think quite honestly, when I look at the operational aspect of the city, I believe that there's a lot of redundancy in our management. I believe that we need to be a little bit more in tune with what the actual workers are doing and accomplishing. I think that we need to look at all contracted services. All contracts to our city need to be relooked at and reevaluated on how effective they are and how efficient they are. I had a gentleman out doing some measurements in my street about paving. And my street's probably hasn't been repaved in a long time, and one of the last ones that needs to be repaved. I can go right out here to any one of these streets surrounding here, any 4 streets, and say they need to be repaved. But I went outside to ask the gentleman what he was doing. He told me, I said, oh great, well thank you so much for all your hard work. It was about 6:30 at night. He said, yeah, no problem. I work for a company down in Santa Maria, a private company of contracts. I'm getting in all my overtime right now. And I thought to myself, well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So we're paying outside contractors overtime to come in and do work that was obviously procrastinated by our city management. So one instance, that was last week. How many more instances like that are across our entire city? What are our city attorneys doing? How much money are they spending suing our businesses? Suing our good businesses? And why are they suing our good businesses? Where's that money going? What kind of backdoor deals are going on as far as possible lawsuits from employees and certain things that might be happening behind closed doors that none of us know about in the tune of $13 million going out last year. There's a lot of things that I see that our city is not transparent about. And when it's our money, we need to know.
Before we go, anything else you want to mention?
Mike Blight running for mayor from Salinas, for Salinas, moving Salinas forward for our future generations.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I really appreciate you